party started. How's everybody's Monday going? Has it felt like a Monday? It's felt like a Monday for me. But it's been good. It's been good. So, if I could just get my children to get in the bed, then we would be golden. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get started with tonight's call. I'm excited to kind of dive into balance of the year goals, talk a little bit about Q4 and what we have coming. So for those of you who don't know, birthday shout outs to Courtney Curry. Happy birthday. I feel like every week it's someone's birthday on our call. I love it. Where is Courtney? Oh, there she is. Hi, happy birthday. So awesome. I love it. What were we going to say? Did she say something? Oh, maybe not. October birthdays are the best. Okay. So I don't even know where my head was whenever what I just said. Okay. So tonight we're going to be talking about, planning for the balance of the year, and your kind of Q4 goals. For those of you who don't know, so Beachbody is broken up into 4 different quarters, and we just kicked off quarter 4 October 1st. So obviously we've got October, November, and December left in this year. So we have 4 different quarters. Sorry, I'm getting feedback on my things, and just want to make sure everybody's muted. Okay, so we just entered into Q4, which, is one of the really most important quarters of the year in a lot of ways. Obviously, first quarter is important as well, but just a lot of people are trying to end the year strong, trying to round out their 2020 goals that they had. And I think this year has just been obviously extra special and different with everything that's happened in 2020. I think a lot of people are like, let's just get this year over with. Obviously trying to savor the here and the now, but obviously it's just been a crazy year. So tonight we're going to talk about 6 things. I want to kind of start with these, and then we'll kind of dive into more tactical things for the balance of the year, and some things that your upline coaches would like you guys to do, as well as me, just so we can kind of see where your head's at, and really just help you kind of reverse engineer your goals and what you want to see happen in your business over the next few months and weeks. Because the end of the year really does play so much into how the next year is going to look for you guys. Obviously, when 2021 happens, a new year, people are wanting to recommit to their health goals. They're wanting to get back on track. And so it's really important that we end this year strong, obviously rounding out our goals for this year, but also even just to kind of prepare for next year. And so what I want to do first is I want to give you guys 6 things to kind of be focusing on over the next few weeks. And these aren't necessarily like mind-boggling things. I think these are things that we kind of all know. But I think that it's really important that we talk about these from time to time, because it's really easy to get distracted with all of the different shiny things that you can be doing in your business, and to forget the basics. And even for me as a coach who's been here for 6.5 years, it's important that even now I'm spending 50% of my time doing the basic things that I did in the very beginning. And so what I want to talk about is 6 things that really like top coaches are doing in their business, that we are seeing all throughout 2020. These are the 6 things that they're doing. And it's the 6 things that you should be doing as we kind of head into Q4. And then we're going to dive into kind of the Q4 goals and how you can tactically kind of set those. So number 1 is going to be commit to a program. I know you hear it said all the time, but you are a product of the product. And you should be a product of the product. And so part of that is committing to a program. And when I say commit to a program, I'm not just saying like each day you do one of the workouts, right? I'm saying you print off the calendar, you pick the meal plan you're going to commit to, you make a plan, you make that workout happen, you track your weights, you take the before photos, you take the before measurements. Like, you view that program that you're doing like it is a test group for you, because your best marketing tool is yourself and the people that you help. And so it's really important that you commit to programs, that you show that these programs work. Because if someone's following you and you have all of this amazing content and you have all these things that, you know, you're sharing, but you're not a product of the product, or you're talking about challenge groups, but then like you have nothing to even show for it, to them, it's like, okay, well, like, you know, yes, I want to do this thing because it sounds amazing, but I also want to get results, right? Like if someone's going to show up for 30 minutes a day, they want to feel better, right? They want to have more energy. They want to be able to chase their kids. They want to be able to whatever. They want to feel sore because they feel like they did something, right? Everyone's goals are going to be a little different, and that's not right or wrong necessarily. But in order for us to show them that these programs work, we have to commit. We have to go all in. We have to stop kind of being like, well, you know, like I just let myself go for this whole 2 weeks, but you know, I'm going to get back on track. Like, no, we have to commit. We have to be serious about it. That doesn't mean you're not going to have weeks in between programs where you maybe relax a little bit or, you know, whatever. Obviously I'm a huge fan of, you know, treats, not cheats and all of that, but I'm talking like just completely lackadaisical, right? Like I'm not talking like you went to a birthday party and had a piece of cake. I'm talking like just committing, right? Like committing to that program. So that's the first thing. The second thing is Success Club. Whoop, sorry guys, my watch just heard me and talked back to me. Success Club Tracker. So if you don't know what the Success Club Tracker is, we call it the business activity tracker, same thing. But you should have that printed off. We talked about this last week. If you're a brand new coach and you're like, I don't know where to start, that is where you start. And guess what? If you've been here for 2 years, that is where you start. And guess what? If you've been here for 6 years like me, that is where you start. The business activity tracker, Success Club Tracker, whatever you want to call it, this is like the key things to your business. It doesn't matter if you've been here forever. Sorry, I'm like seeing the chat and Courtney's like, I'm stuffing my face right now. I love it. It's a birthday. But the business activity tracker is the basics. Like this is where we should be hanging out. This is where we should be spending our time. So many coaches get caught up in the shiny stuff. Oh, I need a blog. Oh, I need a website. Oh, I need to be doing all of these things for my coaches. That's one big, really, really big thing. And that's hard for me. Like I want to do all the things for my coaches. And I have to constantly say, Caroline, 50% of your time should be in your own business, 25 with your coaches and 25 with your customers. And that's really hard for me because I love pouring into you guys. But like, that's where we should be spending our time. And you guys have to find time to work your business. If you're on this call and you think that this call is going to work your business for you, it is not going to work this business for you. If listening to personal development, you think that's going to change your business and that's going to work your business for you, it is not going to work your business for you. You have to own your business, period. You have to own your business. You have to stop thinking, oh, I need to go work my business. You have to start thinking, I want to own my business. And when you start thinking about it like you own it instead of like you work it, you actually are a little bit more enticed to actually get it done. So you have to figure out like, how am I going to own my business? You have to set business hours. You have to set non-business hours. You have to have boundaries. But most people do not work in their 6 to 7. Okay. So stay with me. What is a 6 to 7? A 6 to 7 is that 1 means you're a couch potato, and 10 is, you know, locking yourself in your office and never leaving and working all the time. Okay. You've got to find a happy balance. You have to find your 6 to 7. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be months when you have to maybe have an 8, or you maybe have to have a 9. Like 9's probably going to be like very slim. Maybe you're in a qualification and you have to make sure that you hold that for the 6 weeks or whatever. But you should find a happy 6 to 7. If you don't have a happy 6 to 7, you got to figure it out. This is going to look different for everybody. And this is why I'm really careful about saying blanket statements. I'm really careful about, even last week's call, like sharing how I do things. I was very clear, like, this is how I do it. But for you, it may look different depending on your goals, how much time you have, what you're trying to make happen in your business. If you're working full time and your goal is to leave your full-time job, then, you know, obviously you probably need to be working in the 7. You got to figure it out. That might mean staying up super late one night during the week because you need to really dive into your business. But if you're on here and you're like, hey, I work a full-time job and I really just do this because I love the community, you know, yes, you work in a 6 to 7, but maybe that's an hour a day as opposed to 3 hours a day. You know, like it's going to look different for everybody. Your 6 or 7 is going to be different from someone else's 6 or 7. And different seasons of life bring like different 6 to 7s, right? But you have to find yours. And like I said, there's going to be months when you have to 10X. If you're like, hey, I really want diamond. Like if you are on this call and you say that out loud to your coach, like, hey, I really want emerald or I really want diamond, you need to go 10X it. That means that for a week, you may have to 10X your invites and 10X your conversations and really like focus on emerald. But that's not an all the time, right? And that we have to remember that sometimes. Like having a goal is not a bad thing. I mean, I have friends who work in ministry, and I'm just using this as an example. Let's say Michelle Myers, for example. She's an incredible woman, right? And she uses her time so wisely. And I really admire her. She recently had a book deadline. Do you guys think that she just like was working at a 1 or 2 or 3 or maybe even 6 during that, you know, month leading up to the book deadline? No. She told me, I'm having to work a lot more than usual. She was probably working at an 8 or a 9. I'm sure she still had boundaries, so I definitely don't think she was a 10. But for that month leading up, she may have had to have her babysitter a little bit more. She may have had to, you know, stay up later and get a little less sleep. But guess what? It was probably just a week or 2 period where she needed to get this book deadline done. And so many times in our businesses with Beachbody, we don't look at it like a deadline. Like how many, I'm not going to ask you to raise your hand because I know it would probably be at least half this call, have told your upline that you either want to be an emerald or a diamond and you have taken 0 action. You've just done the basics. You're not going to get there doing that. I'm just telling you right now, I want to be honest with you. Like that's not going to happen. If you're serious about diamonds, you got to set a deadline for yourself. If you walked into 2020 and you said, hey, I want to do XYZ in my business. I'm just going to throw things out there. I want to have 50 clients this year. And I want to, I want to hit Success Club every month. And I want to have, I want to be 2-star by the end of the year because I want to open that second CBC. And if you're on this call and you're still sitting at diamond, or maybe you're not even emerald, you're just sitting at emerald, like we're 75% through the year at this point, right? Like, so now obviously you guys are going to have to reassess your goals and sit down and figure out what that looks like for the balance of the year. And we'll talk about that in just a second. But like, you need to set deadlines for yourself, just like someone does for a book launch, right? Just like someone does, pace yourself throughout the year. And then you're going to have to work from a 10 in order to hit that deadline. So find your 6 to 7, find it. Okay. Number 3, fast and strong. You have to work fast and strong. And now fast and strong is going to be defined by you, just like that 6 or 7. Okay. Fast and strong is going to look a little bit different for every single person on this call. So you can't compare your fast and strong to someone else's fast and strong. But here's what I know. Fast and strong is what creates momentum in this business. You cannot build momentum in this business slowly. Now, I have worked this business for 6.5 years, and where I'm at in this business, some people got to in 2 to 3 years. So when I say working fast and strong means a quick result, that's not what I'm saying here. What I think fast and strong really means is that you're working relentlessly. If you don't hit that goal by the end of the year, you don't throw in the towel because you're working fast and strong and you're working relentlessly. If in a year from now, you don't get to leave your full-time job to be a stay-at-home mom like you envisioned happening, you don't quit Beachbody just because it didn't happen in your timing, right? Because you were running fast and strong. You're relentless. You see the long-term vision. And this is, again, going to look a little different for everybody, but running fast and strong is what will create the momentum in your business over the long haul. It's what will make you show up in 5 years when you're still here and you're working this business. Like, fast and strong, you have long-term vision of where you're going. If anybody on here is doing 30-day breakaway, it was today during the run, she talked about like looking forward and just focusing on where you're going and the run and what your body is capable of doing. And so many times we look down and we get so in our head about things. And so what do? We get in our head and we say, we can't do this, and we start walking. And then eventually we stop and we give up. Or we start walking and we're in a really negative headspace and we complain about the run and about the whole thing the entire time, right? Whereas if we just paced ourselves, if we just stay focused on where we're going and we paced ourselves and we set small little goals. At the end of the run today, which I ran it with Aaron and Bree, and Bree's like a beast. Aaron is too. But like me and Aaron, we're both like, we're not runners. And Bree's like, hauling. But at the end of the run, Adala said something, and this is literally what got me through that last sprint, is she said, I want you to like pick a mailbox or pick a stop sign or pick like a bend in the road. And I want you to make it your goal to like run past that point. And literally like that was the only thing that got me through that last sprint, is knowing that after I went past that mailbox, like I had to quote unquote run the race. Like I had won, right? Like it was like sprinting through the finish line. And that's what you guys have to focus on. Like you have to run fast and strong in this business, and you have to have long-term vision, and you have to like know where you're going, and you have to pace yourself in it, right? You have to have a vision of what that looks like to kind of get you there. And at the end of that race, or in the middle, like I had to do, you have to 10X it a little bit. You have to really get hyper focused in on where you're going and what you're doing. And so there's 6 things that are really broke down that I think kind of relates to this fast and strong. And again, this is defined by you and what that fast and strong looks like. But number 1 is helping someone daily with something. If you want to run this business fast and strong, you have to find joy here. And part of finding joy in this business is helping people daily. Like we all love serving people. I don't think there's anybody on this call who would say like, I don't love getting on the phone with one of my clients and having a really great conversation with them and like seeing God really break chains in their life. Like none of us would probably say that, because we love what we do, right? Or if someone reaches out to us and, they want to get connected with a program, like, connecting them with a share card and getting them plugged in and plugging them into the community. Like those are the things that we love about this. Like I love getting texts from customers about the transformation that's happening in their health and fitness, right? Those things are what give me joy. Those are things that keep me going in the pace and the run, right? They help me run fast and strong. And so helping someone daily with something. If you're brand new here and you're like, hey, that's awesome, Caroline, but like I don't have any customers and I don't have anyone who's even interested in working with me, that's okay. You can still help someone with something. Like it doesn't have to be someone who paid for something. Maybe it's writing a free group, like a 2-day free group, or maybe it's just sharing like your tracker with someone, like our little meal plan tracker, or maybe it's sending someone the weekly meal plan. Like maybe it's just blessing someone in some way, because blessing people really will bless you and will give you joy in this business. Number 2, helping people talk to others and start conversations. This is one of the hardest parts of coaching. But also the bread and butter of coaching, right? It's like our job is to literally make friends. Like that's literally what we do. Like we start conversations with people, we pour into people, we get to know people, and then hopefully we get to serve them and help them. The third thing is going emerald over and over and over again. So if you want to have a fast and a strong business, just think like if your goal is diamond, okay, let's just say that you're on this call and your goal is diamond. Make it your goal to just go emerald every single week. Like just go emerald every single week. Add 2 people to your business every single week. And that will be a strong, fast and strong business. Last year in 2019 and 2020, I set the goal of having 6 new coaches a month, 6 to 9 new coaches a month. And some months I did not hit that. Some months I had 4 new coaches a month, but every single month I went for 6 to 9 coaches a month. And that helped me really run fast and strong. Like, it helped my business tremendously, just having that small bite-sized little goal for every single month. And so make that your goal to go Emerald over and over again. Number 4, hit Success Club monthly. Like, if you want to run a fast and strong business, you've got to hit Success Club monthly. Number 5, retain people. We don't want, like, we want to close the back door of our business. Like, that's the goal, right? Like, we think of it like a house. Like, if we have visitors come in, we want them to stay, right? Like, if you owned a brick and mortar store and you had a gym and people came in and they bought a membership, you would be kind of bummed if they only stayed for a month and then they were out, right? We want for people to stay. We want to build community here. It's impossible for us to build community if every single person that comes to the door leaves. So start to think about, how can you keep people here? How can you serve them really well? How can you make your challenge groups better? Every single month, I'm thinking, like, it's funny because I'm sure some of you guys know this because we probably had conversations about it, but I'm always asking my coaches, like, what are you doing with your customers? Like, I want to hear, because I'm always trying to figure out how I can make my groups better. And yes, I'm 6 years into this, but like, I do always think there's room for improvement. And so if you're not looking back on last month and saying, how can I make my conversations better? How can I make my challenge group better? How can I serve my people better? What can I do better? Like, then honestly, if you're not growing, you're stagnant, right? And don't just think like people within Beachbody. I have a friend who does Young Living oils, and we sit down and we brainstorm and we share ideas. She told me about something called Project Broadcast and how she sends text messages to all of her clients. And I started doing that last month. But there's so many things that we can learn from each other, because sometimes I feel like we just stay in our little bubble. But there's so many other people that we can be learning from. And so really just kind of pushing ourselves outside of that comfort zone and finding ways to retain your customers, because that is really important. There's people out there who I know this sounds insane to some of you new coaches, but there are literally coaches who have like 200 Success Club points a month, but they don't retain like any customers. And to me, that's not really what I want. I don't want to have 200 new customers every month. And like, which by the way, I'm like, my goal is like 5 to 10 customers a month. So let's be clear about that. But I want to build a community here, right? Like, I want to serve people. I mean, I don't want to just try to sell something that's quick results, right? Like, that's not why I'm here. And so really start to think about, how can you retain people when they come in? How can you make them feel so seen and loved? And obviously it's easier when your business is smaller than when it gets really big, but how can you make them feel so seen and so loved and heard and helped, and make it your goal to help them get the results that they set out to get, because that's your job as a coach, is to help them get the results. Number 6 is helping people see the vision and how you define success. And so when you bring people in on your team or customers, like, help them see the vision of where you're going. Help people that follow you on Instagram to see the vision of where you're going and how you define success. Like, what is your goal? What do you want to make happen? Like, there's definitely tons of companies out there that lead with money, and I am not a fan with leading with money, because that is not what this is about. But helping people see your vision of like what you want your team to look like and what you want your business to be about. I just think that's important if you really want to run a fast and strong business. Okay, so that all played into fast and strong. Number 5 is get excited about the future of Beachbody. I've gone through seasons, I'll be totally transparent. I've gone through seasons where I'm really excited about things that Beachbody's doing. And then there's months and been years where haven't been as excited because I haven't seen the long-term vision. I remember when Beachbody On Demand came out, and I was just like, oh, I do not like it. Like, I was just like, I liked the DVDs. I didn't like the way that Beachbody On Demand works. Like, I just wasn't a fan of it. But I had to trust that Beachbody was going to make it amazing, right? So this makes me think about Beachbody On Demand groups, right? Like, I wish I could show you guys the Roundtable. The Roundtable is a Facebook group for 5-star and above coaches. every single day there are so many complaints about every single thing, but mainly Beachbody On Demand groups. And, you know, for me, I'm like, yeah, there's things that I know there's room for improvement on the platform. And like, I could sit here and complain about it, or I could just be solution oriented about it and be like, you know what, like, yes, it's not perfect. And there are definitely things that they could make better, but like, what are the things that are great about it? And how can I use the platform in my business? What are the things that are working? What are the things that they added this month? Like, just kind of be excited about that and have long-term vision, knowing that like Beachbody is doing like the decisions they make, they want the best for their coaches. Like, why would they want to like make our business hard? That would just mean that less people would come in, right? Like, they really do try to do everything that they can to make this business successful for you. Like, what other business can you pay $15 a month to have, you know, to be a part of their company? And, you know, you get to do the fun stuff like the marketing and the creating the content, and they literally take care of everything else. Like, there's a ton of multi-level marketing companies that make you invest thousands of dollars, have a closet full of products to sell to people, but literally like Beachbody provides share cart. They make it super easy for you to send it to customers. They, you know, they package everything up and send it to people. And so just control the controllable, and get excited about the direction that Beachbody is going. We have Control Freak coming out. We have Peppermint Shakeology or Peppermint Mocha Shakeology coming out. Like, we have so many incredible things that Beachbody is constantly innovating. They already have all of next year planned out. And guess what? There's a new program coming out every single quarter. That's amazing. At the end of this year, all of our customers will get access to MBF in December. So if they didn't buy the digital unlock, they'll get MBF in December. Like, we are constantly giving value to people. And so I really encourage you guys to like bleed blue. I mean, you're not going to agree with everything that Beachbody does. You're not going to be all about every single thing that comes out, and you don't need to be a Beachbody robot. That's not what I'm saying. But I think get excited about what Beachbody is doing, because that comes through in the way that you talk to people. That comes through in the way that you talk to potential coaches. If you don't believe in what our company is doing, it's going to be hard for you to get excited about it. Now, brand yourself, you know, make sure that you're being real and true to who you are. But also remember like that you have an incredible team and company behind you. I think one of the biggest things about successful coaches in this business is that they lean into their teams and into their communities. I actually saw this incredible picture today. I wish I could show it to you guys. But I don't even know where it is at this point. But it was this picture, and it was of this girl who, she was basically telling this story, and she had hiked this, I think it's like, I'm really butchering this story because I cannot remember the name of the mountain, but it's like the tallest standalone mountain in the world. So if anybody knows it, they can drop it in the chat box if you're like a hiking fiend, because I can't remember what it was called. But she did the hike alone, and she said it was the hardest thing that she has ever done in her entire life. She was an athlete, a college athlete, but it was the hardest thing that she has ever physically done in her entire life. And so she's coming down the mountain and making the descent down the mountain. She passes this, like, she kind of sees from far away this large group of people. And she said it was just this really cool experience, because when she came to do this hike by herself, she actually ended up having to get people to help her along the way. And what she realized is that she couldn't do this hike alone. And so she sees this group of people ahead of her, and she's like, wow, that's like a team. That's cool. Like, they're doing this together. Like, I kind of wish I would have done that. And she gets a little bit closer, and she realizes that one of the men was in a wheelchair. And these guys were actually like, one guy is carrying the wheelchair, one guy's carrying the guy's stuff, one guy's helping carry the guy. And I think there was a couple guys helping carry the guy. So this whole team of guys was doing this hike, and they were carrying this friend of theirs who was in a wheelchair up this mountain. And guys, like, that's what we're here to do. We're here to carry each other. And if you try to do this business by yourself and you don't lean into the community, I promise it won't be as successful. The hike will be harder. You're going to get down. You're going to be lonely. You're going to feel isolated. But if you will lean into the team, into the community, like, yes, some things may be a little bit extra step. You may have to get your computer out in the morning and set it up when you didn't really need it to get on Zoom to see other people working out. You may have to, take away an hour of, doing things around your house on a Monday night to be present on a team call and be here live to see other people. You may have to work your business and figure out when you're going to do your action hour around, when action hours are happening here on the team. We have 2 a week. So that might mean saying, hey, I'm going to clean the house now or do the things I need to around the house now so I can get on the action hour when Lauren Boyce hosts it at 8 p.m. tomorrow night, or when I host one later this week or whatever. Like, it may mean that you kind of have to take that extra step. But no one ever said that community was going to be convenient. I could get on a whole nother soapbox about community in person in your church, being involved in community and the importance of it. But lean into the community, because I don't want anybody here to ever feel like they're doing this alone. Like, that is something that I'm really passionate about. It's like, I want for you guys to feel supported in it. And I know that things are not always going to work out for you to be on or to join the team call or to, join something. Like, we all have busy lives, right? But that's just it. We all have busy lives. And see how many people are on this call tonight. 36 coaches. We're all busy and we all have things going on. And we all probably had 10 excuses for why we couldn't be here tonight if we really wanted to. I had excuses, honestly. Like, I could have canceled tonight's call because I had like 5 things that I had excuses around. But I showed up anyway because I'm committed to you guys. And I want you guys to be just as committed to this community as I'm committed to this community. Okay, number 6. This is the last one, I promise. So be bold, be brave, and be relentless. Like, you have to push past your fears in this business. Now, there's a reason I didn't say be fearless, because you're still going to have fears. You talk to a top coach, a 15-star diamond coach. People look at them and they think, oh, they're fearless. No, they have fears. I have fears. It still scares me to send that message to that girl or to send that voice message. Like, yes, I'm more confident and maybe I'm like done it so many times that I feel a little bit better about it. But like, you have to practice in order to get better, right? Like, it's like when you play a sport, you have to show up for practice. You got to show up, you got to put in the work, and you're going to get better over time. But in the beginning, yes, it's going to feel awkward. Yes, you're probably going to mess up or say something wrong, but that's okay. That's part of the process of growing. Even now, I have things that I do in order to grow, right? Last month, I told you guys I tried Project Broadcast, and I sent out this text message to all my customers, and it didn't work for some reason. And it literally said, hey, insert name, to every single person. It was supposed to actually put their name in there. And it said insert name instead of their actual name. That was embarrassing. I was just like, seriously? But guess what? I did it, right? Like, I did something different. I tried something new. I threw some spaghetti at the wall. And guess what I didn't do? I did not use that feature this month when I sent it. I just said, hey, girl, to every single person, because I didn't want to risk it. But you've got to push past those fears. You've got to be bold. You've got to be brave. You've got to be relentless. You got to keep going even when you don't feel like it. So to recap those 6 things, you got to commit to a program. You got to make sure that you print off your Success Club tracker, your business tracker. Maybe you need to print off 365 copies of it to make sure that you find the time to work your business, own your business, set business hours. Number 3, find your 6 to 7. Find that sweet spot in your business and know that sometimes you're going to have to 10x it. Number 4, fast and strong. Remember, this is defined by you. We broke it down with 6 different things. I'm not going to dive into all of those right now. But what I will say is that if you set goals and you haven't reached them this year, that's okay. And I want you guys to know that. I do. Set a new goal. Set a new goal. Night-night, buddy. Sorry, children interrupting. It's okay. It's part of coaching. So, set a new goal. Just because you didn't hit it, that's okay. But set a new goal. If you did hit your goal already, so let's say that you're on this call and you're like, okay, like all the goals that I set in my business for 2020 have happened. Now you need to go set a new goal because you still got 3 months in the year left. Like, it's not time to like take your foot off the gas. Like, you got to keep going. You got to run fast and strong. And then number 5 was get excited about the future of Beachbody. And number 6 was bold, brave, and relentless. And so let's talk now. Those are really the 6 things that I want you guys to kind of focus on as we end the year. And I just encourage you guys, like whether you're a brand new coach or you've been here again for 4 years, like all of those 6 points stay the same. But let's talk really quick about kind of what we want you guys to do, some tactical things that we want you guys to do as you sit down and you really think about these last 3 months of the year, okay? So we have a little graphic that I'm going to post with the recording that I'll send to you guys. So the ask is that you can print that off if you want. It's just a little 1-pager for you to sit down and just really think about, kind of think through. I would just say like, put your phone on airplane mode, take 20 minutes and just like think on it. Or maybe like on your run tomorrow or on a walk with the kids, you can just sit down and really think through these things. That's when I like to think and pray, is like on walks. I love that. But just really think and ask the Lord. Number 1, we want you to sit down and just ask the Lord, like, God, what do you have for me in the balance of this year? Like, would you give me fresh vision? Would you help me to have like fresh goals that make sense for when I'm able to commit into this business? What I never want to see happen with a coach is that they set these really big, scary goals. Yes, that's great. Like, people are always like, set big, scary goals. I'm like, that's great, whatever. But like, also set attainable goals. Like, make sure that like, if you write down that you want to make something happen in your business this year, that it like, because what I don't want to happen is that you get discouraged because you get nowhere close to that goal, right? Like, make sure that that goal is something that the Lord has told you, like is part of where you're going in this business. Like, make sure that your vision aligns with His. So number 1, I want you to sit down and really pray about where you're going in this business. And again, this is really for the next 3 months, guys. So we're not even talking like 2021 yet. We're literally just talking like, what do you think is an attainable goal? And Lord, like, just ask Him for the wisdom to know what makes sense for you and what you're able to commit. The next thing is dreams with deadlines. So write down what your dreams are for this last quarter. Like, what are some things that you want to make happen? But then what I want you to do is I want you to put a date beside it. So if your goal for this last quarter is that you want to hit Success Club every single month, like, okay, awesome. Give yourself some pacing dates, right? Like, okay, 10 days into the month, I want to be at Success Club 2. 20 days into the month, I want to be at Success Club 4. Give yourself some little goals for the month. I think this is really important because what I see happen with a lot of coaches, they get to the last week of the month and they're stressing because they have no one. Whereas if you pace yourself through the month, then you're a lot more likely to hit it and hit it with joy. You know what I'm saying? Like, not hit it in this stressed out, frazzled way, but hit it with joy and excitement because you paced yourself. And then you were able to really get on the phone with those girls and serve them like you should and show up for them because you paced yourself through the month. So sit down and set some little deadlines for yourself. So, if Success Club is your goal, let's say Success Starters is your goal and you just signed up last month. So you technically have 6 months, but maybe your goal is that you want to knock it out the first 3. That way you just give yourself some wiggle room, right? So maybe your goal is that by the end of December, you hit Success Starters. Or maybe, you are a newer coach and maybe your goal is to hit Emeralds. Make it your goal to hit Emeralds next month. Maybe give yourself 4 weeks and say, okay, this week I'm going to really focus on recruiting to coaching. This week I'm going to focus on inviting to, a coach sneak peek, whatever. Again, make sure whatever you do, whatever goal that you set, you have a deadline, you have little pacing deadlines, and that you also kind of have some sort of marketing plan around it. Okay. So that's what we're going to ask you guys for. On this sheet, it just really breaks those few things down. We just really want to make sure that if you guys are setting goals in your business, that you've got deadlines and you've kind of got little benchmarks along the way, and then some sort of marketing plan to go along with it. And so this Google form is basically going to ask you guys that. And let me kind of explain really quick kind of the reasoning behind this. We had a lot of people apply for the Diamond internship. And we've got a lot of people in there, which is amazing. Really, really awesome. But what we're finding is that a lot of people just throw out there, oh, I want to be Diamond. Okay, by when? Do you know what you need to get to Diamond? What's your marketing plan to get to Diamond? Like, not just throwing these things out into the air, but actually like making a plan around how you're going to get there. Okay. So that's why we really wanted to talk about this tonight. We really wanted to kind of break it down. So another thing too is like in this, you're going to hear a lot of coaches say reverse engineer your goals. And that's going to be part of this too. And that's why we want you to kind of come up with that marketing plan and have those PACER goals along the way, because that's part of reverse engineering your goals. So you're taking your goal, a Success Club 10 every month or Success Club 5 every month, and you're like, okay, so if I want to hit Success Club 5, then that means I need to have 2 Success Club points by this day in the month. And that means that I need to send this many invites the week leading up. And that means that I need to be having this many conversations. So really sitting down and kind of reverse engineering that goal and figuring out how many conversations you need to have, how many emails you need to be sending out. And again, like I'm trying not to blanket statement this because everybody's going to have so many different goals. But this is what we want you guys to do. We're going to have this little worksheet. You can print it off, you can take it or leave it, or you can just fill out the Google form. It's just a really short Google form, but over the next few days, we want everybody to turn it in by Friday. And then your upline coach will receive it. And if you're filling it out and you have questions and you want to ask your upline coach, like, okay, I'm trying to make the marketing plan and figure out what my little milestones are going to be. What do you think makes sense? Ask them. They're here to help you. Like that's what we want to do, is help you guys make sure that you're setting some attainable goals in your business. But this will really help us just know how we can be serving you. We want to make sure no coach on here ever wants to push their goals on you as a coach. So do I want to be an elite 2021 team? Yes. Do I want to be an elite 2020 team? Yes. But like, I'm not going to push Diamond or something like that on someone on this call who doesn't want that, right? So I'm always very careful. If anything, I'm actually extra careful because I never want to scare anybody away by being like, oh, these are my goals, or like pushing them too hard if that's not what they want. And so we want to always make sure that we're holding you accountable to whatever your goals are, but never pushing our goals on you. Does it make sense? So this just helps with transparency. So we kind of know, okay, this is the direction she's going. And if you're like, hey, I'm on here, I'd love to help 2 to 3 people a month, I'm really here more for the community, that's totally fine too. Like we're totally cool with that, but we still think you should have some goals in that as well. Some just little benchmarks and pacers, because if God's called you here, then you should do it with excellence, right? Like even if it's just for the community. And even if it's just to help 1 or 2 people a month, that's totally fine. But I think you still kind of have to give yourself little goals, or else you'll kind of sit back and just let it pass you by. So that's all I got tonight, guys. Hopefully this was helpful. I would love to take any questions if anybody wants to drop them in the chat or unmute themselves. I feel like I've been talking a lot, especially because I didn't have a PowerPoint tonight. So it's like talking overload. I love you guys are all saying the community is game changing. I love what Erin said. She said, I say it all the time. When you feel like you're closing yourself off, that's when you need to lean in the most. It's so true. Let's see. Oh, good. Erica. I'm just reading y'all's comments. Alyssa, I'm so glad that I'm not alone either. That's hilarious. We all do. We're all going to make mistakes. Like, that's the thing. I mean, you know, it's funny if you guys ever have a customer who's unhappy or anything like that, or something ever happens, like, just know Caroline's probably had this happen a couple of times, because I have. Every single thing that you can imagine, I have had happen. So it's just part of growing, and it's just part of the process. And, you know, that's what I always remember. Alyssa said, messy action is where it's at. I love that. Yeah. And, you know, for you guys who are like, you know, you said you were feeling a little overwhelmed. Yeah, just like, you know, I think it's just sitting down and really setting those little small goals for yourself, you know, and just like, okay, I'm going to print out the business tracker, and this week I'm just going to focus on the business tracker. And, you know, just setting those little goals and not letting yourself get overwhelmed. Because it is a lot of information, and there are a million different things you could do, and every coach does things differently too. And so, but I think if you can just focus on the basics, and that goes for everybody, because it's easy. I mean, Shay and I were just talking about this last weekend, but like, it's easy for us, even at this point in our business, to kind of like get so focused on our coaches that we forget the basics of this business too. And so just always remembering the basics are the most important part. Yes, and don't compare yourself to anyone else. So true, Lauren. I love that. All right, well, let's pray really quick, and I'll let you guys go. And thank you guys for being on. I'll post the trackers whenever I get this recording up. So, Heavenly Father, God, thank you so much for tonight's call, God. I just pray that you spoke in and through me, God. I pray that you would use this call tonight to just spur these women on towards action and towards steps, Lord. Hopefully it was encouraging to them, Lord, as they just take those small steps in their business, Lord. God, I just pray for each and every one of them, God, that you would multiply their efforts, multiply their results, Lord. Use this business for your glory and for the good of others, Lord. I pray that you would give them fresh vision this week and fresh creativity. And it's in your name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys for being on. Did anybody get a picture? I don't have my phone, and I honestly don't even know where it is right now. So, Courtney, grab one for us.
Yeah, I can take one. Everybody smile. I'll get both pages too. 1, 2, 3. Ooh, hold on. I have a message popping up. Give me one moment. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Smile. Okay, second page. Hold on. Oh, let me save it. I was taking it inside of Instagram. Not perfect. Okay, stop. Thank you, guys.
I love it. You the best.
Great night.
Bye, y'all. Have a good night.